You know, over the years, you've heard California described as the lands of fruits and nuts, and this series was kind of fruity and kind of nutty until tonight, and the Rangers kind of figured things out a little bit tonight, and got the weird out of here. And it's just a let's avoid a sweep kind of game against the division rival, who's still a few games behind. And yet, Jeff, this one feels big. John Radigan here, Jeff Wilson there. He's in Seattle, by the way, not Anaheim, because the team's headed there, and the trade deadline is tomorrow. Cat's staying up, pulling the late duty with us tonight, and we're glad to have you along, too. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. It's a long way of saying, though, Jeff, it's a big win. It's maybe it feels bigger than it is, I suppose, because they all count one and all that, but this feels like a really good win.
Well, you never want to get swept. You're on the road where you haven't played well. And the next place you're going to, you definitely haven't played well of late. So, yeah, you needed to, ideally you needed to win that series at Anaheim. And it was a crazy series. And I admit that I fell asleep last night in the 8th inning. I had an early flight this morning. So I missed the whole hit by pitch thing. And that Ray Montgomery, who does he think he is?
No kidding.
Coming out and mouthing off to Bruce Bochy.
Right.
If it wasn't for Ron Washington getting sick, this guy wouldn't even be managing. So close your yap, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, a good win. Nathan Eovaldi delivered it. Career win number 100 for him. So congratulations to him. Awesome month. ERA less than 1. I think he went 5-0. That's got pitcher of the month written all over it.
It does.
And El Bombi hit the big home run, and he had his trials in the outfield a couple times this series, and also had a great catch. Let's not ignore that. But if you're a fan of terrible outfield play, and I am, that's like I love it. It is hilarious to me. That Ward in left field he's got to be the worst left fielder I've seen since Josh Willingham with the A's.
Yeah, he's a butcher. And Adele tonight, you had to love Adele. Yeah. He's generally pretty good out there, but basically just, he's kind of nonchalant at it, and I guess misjudged it and tried to catch it low.
That's what started the rally. So
really crazy night in the outfield. You're right, and but we'll take it, especially in a situation like that. And the amazing thing about that 8th inning, and sometimes you're sitting there watching, and we're buddies, of course, with Dave Raymond and Mike Bassick. But after there's 2 outs in the 8th, and the Rangers have a lead, and I think David mentioned, and I'm hoping the same thing. I want Nathan Eovaldi back on the mound. I don't want to, it's his game, and I'm thinking at that point maybe even the 9th if we have to, right? Let him go a complete game. And, of course, the runs scored in that inning changed all that. But there's 2 out. Corey Seager had just struck out. And Dave says, well, the Rangers, of course, hoping he'll have one more at bat because he has, as of right now, his 28-game on-base streak is ended. But he might get one more. And I'm looking at my scorebook and I'm going, what the hell's Dave thinking, right? and then Bassick says at some point, maybe before Langford at bat, I guess, or maybe it was on the whatever it was on the Simeon at bat. He's like, well, how about a little? I think he said it before the Simeon at bat. How about a little 2-out rally? And I'll be danged. Yeah, they came up with a 2-out rally.
And if you're a little league player and you strike out or the ball hits the dirt, you run.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Wyatt Langford.
If any little leaguer thinks that it doesn't matter and that big leaguers don't do it, Wyatt Langford did it and extended the inning. The Rangers scored 2 more runs, and they turned out to be huge runs. But it did get Eovaldi out of the game. I thought Eovaldi had a chance to. I still think I want to send him out. The reason probably they didn't is they don't have an off day before his next start.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. And he'd thrown 92 pitches. Of the last 2 innings, though, he kind of breezed through them. There are the numbers. Not a lot of strikeouts, but and that kind of helps keep the pitch count down. But just good stuff. And had Mike Trout's number all night.
Yeah.
And hats off to the Angels though for battling the bottom of their lineup. Did really, really well this series. I like Sean Well, the first baseman.
He's a really good player.
I think he's a pretty good player. But they still have too many. They don't have enough star power. I don't.
No.
But I tell you what, the way they fight, it's Ron Washington's style, and
yeah,
I know he's not managing them right now, but he has instilled that in them.
Yep, no doubt. And those at bats they were putting up were ridiculous. I mean, it's like old school stuff. I mean, I'm like, do we have a pitch clock working here? What's going on? This game's taking forever. And by the way, I think Nathan Eovaldi would have been credited with 9 strikeouts if not for Jacob Metz. Oh my God, that guy! I mean, at one point, Bassick just goes. There's a horrible call, and Bassick goes, "I think Boach has just got to get tossed." I mean, because it was so bad. There were, I tweeted one. It was right down the middle. Ball.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is that not a strike? Or, oh my God.
So, well, the Angels beat writer for the Orange County paper, Jeff Fletcher, he had tweeted before the game, this is a call, minor league call up. I looked him up. His numbers look okay. And then in the first inning, I almost retweeted him like, Jeff, are you sure about that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
What does the eye test tell you here, Jeff?
Sometimes the numbers lie. So Jacob had a rough I don't know if it was his actual debut, but if it was a bit of a rough debut. Actually, I thought he got a little bit better as the evening went on, and I did think he was fairly consistent. Whereas
consistently bad,
consistently bad. Both sides were like, seriously. But anyway, everybody also understands.
And he missed the Josh Smith getting hit.
Oh, that's just ridiculous. Too.
Yeah, I think you go with the player on that one instead of saying to hit the knob of the bat. If the player shakes it off and goes to
immediately. It's not like he was, and truthfully, and I know that's a tough situation because the time that Josh took to get down to first base theoretically is part of the time that it elapses, right? So the Rangers probably didn't have quite as much time to review it, but they should have gone with the player too, right?
Yeah,
and just said, hey, our guy said he got hit. He got hit. Review it. So. It didn't even come close to the bat.
By the way, I am enjoying a post-game win beer, Rogers Pilsner from Georgetown Brewing Company here in the greater Seattle area. It's pretty tasty.
Is it good? Yeah, excellent. Well, that's great. Yeah, I always have at least one of those Rainier beers up there. You like those? Rainier.
They had Rainier. It's like a classic beer. Do you remember the old? I remember these from the old Rainier beer commercials.
I don't think I know those.
They pronounced Rainier like it was an engine revving, so it was Rainier.
Oh, nice.
Beer. Yeah,
nice.
So I almost got 2 of those, but I thought I'd try.
No, I would have. I may have gone with the Rainier, but anything local up, you gotta go with something local.
That's right.
Rangers get a good win tonight. They win it tonight in Anaheim by a final of 6-3. 6 runs on 11 hits for the Rangers, who batted around in that 8th inning. And see, I think it's such an important point to bring up, Jeff, because easily as of Monday night, you could have said, I think they're reverting back to what they were when they weren't as offensive as they need to be. And really, that wasn't the case in that game. Last night, that wasn't the case. In each of those games, they came back to tie the game and just figured out a way to mess it up, right? And last night, you could argue, was one of the worst defensive games of the year.
Yeah, let's see Leon in the chat. He had said Tuesday that the Monday game felt like the Rangers' losses in April and May, and I disagreed with him. I thought the loss last night was more indicative of the early season woes. But anyway, this team is even in the losses, the offense was there. Enough offense was there. They just made some silly mistakes in those the defensive plays. Yeah, DeGrom, not having a good start.
Yeah.
That's definitely a rarity. So I think that it happens over the course of 162. You're just going to have a couple games in a row that are absolute turds, and tonight still wasn't great. I mean, it was a win, but the eighth inning was a little shaky. You're kind of letting the other team get the momentum and come back into the game. And again, we're going to touch on this in the next segment. But with all these names that are coming off the board, reliever wise, I think when you saw, Hobie Milner coming in to face, the top of the Angels lineup.
Right.
I love Hobie. All right, but I don't know that you want Hobie Milner facing 1, 2, 3, especially on a team better than the Angels.
Right.
So I think that kind of illustrates again the need here for the Rangers to get some bullpen help here in the next 19 hours.
Sure. Yeah. And that's definitely an effort. And coming up in the next segment, we're going to talk all about the trades that have happened so far and some things we and Jeff in particular has learned about where the Rangers stand. We'll tell you any of those things that we are able to, but that's all coming up. We'll also get you ready for that Seattle series coming up a little later on in the program. And we remind you right now that tomorrow our show is going to be on at 4:30, which is a half hour before the trade deadline. That's at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern. So we'll be on at 4:30. We'll just be right there to the wire. It does look as though at this moment for sure it looks like the Rangers are going to go down to the final day, and possibly they'll go right down to the final hour on this trade deadline deal.
Yeah, and the adage in baseball is when you put a deadline on something in this game, nothing gets done till the deadline. So today's activity, there's been a swarm of activity. So that really is kind of running askew of the adage. But there will be a bunch of deals made between now and 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers make some deals while we're going live, John, and talking about the show or talking about the deadline during our show. So they're going to add somebody. There's too many relievers out there for them to not get somebody. And I don't want to spoil our next segment by continuing to talk about it. But yeah, I'll be floored if they don't add somebody.
Yeah, we definitely both will. It's something that they know they need to do. We know they need to do. We know they want to do, and frankly, they do. They really want to do that. So it's not something I don't think that anybody has to worry too much about. That's something that's going to happen. You don't have to worry about getting swept in Anaheim, so that's good too. The Rangers, actually finished their season series in Anaheim with a 3-4 record. So, it was 2-4 going into this one. So, if they lose this and you end up 2-5 against the Angels out there, you're not feeling as good. But 3-4 against the Angels on the road is, somebody's got to have the edge when you play 7 games out there. So,
well, and you look at the 4 losses, if you want to go back to earlier this month.
Yeah,
Rangers could have gone 7-0. Yeah, honestly, they really could have.
Yeah, they absolutely could have, and they did go 3-0 against the Angels at home this year. So we'll see what happens the next time the Angels come to town. But in the meantime, the Rangers are headed to Seattle, and that's one of the things we'll talk about as we continue the show. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast after a Rangers victory over the Angels, 6-3, the final tonight in Anaheim. We're back to talk about what's been happening in the trade deadline. That's next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, we tell you about Game Time. Oh, we just love Game Time. It's the app for anyone who needs a ticket, and you need a ticket. I'm telling you right now, you need a ticket for the next 2 series, really, at home for the Rangers. It's the Yankees and it's the Phillies. So these are 2 teams that are in the thick of races and 2 teams that the Rangers will really test themselves against. And right now, you could get tickets to that first Yankees game on Monday night for just $30. There's tickets available. I imagine they're all going to sell out, especially that Yankees series, but maybe even the Phillies one. So check with my friend Nicole at Game Time. Get tickets to any game you want or any concert you want. They're all there, and Game Time is a great app where you get to see exactly which seat you're buying. There are guarantees, very few fees. Game Time is the place to go. It's our favorite app. Use the code DLLS at Game Time and get $20 off that first purchase.
And yeah, John, I'm staying in downtown Seattle. I'm staying a little bit, I think it's north or west, east. It's east. I'm east of the team hotel. I'm between the team hotel and remember the Chaz district from a few years ago?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a new area to me. And I don't like downtown Seattle.
Right.
But when you get out of downtown Seattle, it's fantastic. It's definitely rugged road territory.
Yeah.
And if we talk about how we need it all the time because of heat and ball games and pool parties and floating the river. Well, you get a little bit outside of downtown Seattle. You're in good fishing country, the Snoqualmie Falls, good camping, and rugged roads are going to be your perfect companion. Lightweight, durable, keeps all your stuff cold, like these delicious beers I've been knocking down. So go ahead and go over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use the code DLLS, and you get 10% off your order at ruggedroadoutdoors.com.
And those Snoqualmie Falls are fantastic, as you mentioned. I'll tell you what else that's not far outside of town. That campus at the University of Washington.
Yeah.
That thing, I could sit there with a cooler full of a rugged road cooler full of drinks and just sit there, near the football stadium even.
Yeah, right off the lake.
Yeah, watching the boats go by and the students and all that. It's a heck of a beautiful campus. So anyway, it's a pretty part of the country, no doubt about that. All right, so speaking of Seattle, that's where we start our trade talk because it appears that the Mariners have gotten the belle of the ball, Jeff, and they've gotten the belle of the ball back in Suarez, amazingly.
Right.
And that's who pretty much everybody wanted. The Tigers were trying for him. The Yankees made a run at him. I mean, anybody who's in the hunt and has money, I don't know that the Rangers would have anyway, but they had no money to work with under any circumstances. But the Mariners get him back, and it should be an interesting reunion, and the Rangers will see him this weekend.
Yeah, first of all, he's a very popular guy here. He was very popular with his teammates. The media loved him, and just seems like a good all-around guy. Didn't hit well here. He hit some home runs, ran into some balls, but after they got him from the Reds, but he wasn't great here. And another third baseman who wasn't great here is Adrian Beltre.
Yeah,
he ended up finding greener pastures. So it will be curious to see what Suarez, who's obviously made some changes. He's been hitting all these home runs in a really tough division in the National League West. It'll be interesting to see if he has a mental thing, or if he's overcome that type, just left it behind. But again, I still think that this team this Mariners team is not a great offensive club, even when you put them in there. Just because of their home ballpark. They still have to play half their games at a place where you just don't score runs.
Yeah.
But it is a big deal. It's a big trade. They traded away a good first baseman. Locklear is his name. And the Mariners always seem to have a good farm system, but they make so many trades from it that at some point they're going to run out of town. Same thing happened to the Astros, who are always going for it. The Astros, again, are trying to get a starting pitcher, and they got Ramon Urias from the Orioles because Isaac Paredes is going to miss the rest of the season, which is a huge blow to them. So that lineup that's being held together by glue and tape and gum is didn't get a lot better with Urias.
Right? No, it didn't.
Yeah.
And the reality is that because again, you're speaking of a reunion that appears to be a pleasant reunion, although Suarez may not think so when he starts trying to hit balls out in Seattle again. But time will tell on that one. But the reunion that was potential in Houston really one of them was like only a would-be reunion. It seemed like they were trying to kick the tires on trading for Arenado again, and Arenado already turned him down once in the off season. So I thought that was interesting, and that rumor might have been wrong, but it seemed like the Carlos Correa coming back to Houston had some legs, and obviously it didn't work out, and it was apparently a very complicated deal. There was a report that did say, Correa would waive his no trade clause. So maybe he was a little more amenable. But I think the way things go in Houston as you're on the way out, a lot of times it's a little too rancorous to come back and just make nice and like nothing ever happened,
Yeah, and I don't, I'm trying to think of past reunions. Of course, Hamilton back to the Rangers.
Yeah,
it was short-lived, but he did some good things in 15.
Worked out okay in the short term.
Yeah, Pudge came back for 6 weeks in 2009.
Yeah,
I'm sure there are other ones I'm missing that are much more notable, and I know you guys in the chat will point it out, but
yeah, there's got to be some Yankees over the years.
It's hard to come back. It really is. But hey, I'm looking forward to seeing it. And apparently the Mariners want to add some bullpen help. You have the Angels who got Yosemite Sam, by golly. And
saw that. I have that down. They got Luis Garcia and Yosemite Sam from Washington.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a curious time of the year when.
Yeah.
And it's my least favorite week of the year from a work perspective, because I can't talk to my friends anymore in the front office because they just don't return text messages. Although they do think that the price for relievers has gotten ridiculous. Now,
do they? Yeah.
Let's take a look at Tyler Rogers goes from the Giants to the Mets for three prospects, including 10 and 12. The Mets then go and get Ryan Helsley for 3 more relievers. And then simultaneously, it seems, the Phillies acquired Joan Duran from the Twins, and they gave up their 4 and 6 prospects, including a guy, Mick Abel, who pitched in the majors for them this year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Abel was teammates with a Rangers draftee named Dylan McClain. They're from Portland, Oregon. And McClain pitched well tonight, but he's still down there in high A, whereas Abel was a first-round pick. And anyway, so pretty lofty prices there. So that makes you wonder, what is David Bednar going to cost? What are the Pirates milking out of teams right now?
Sure.
And what are the Rangers going to give up? They're not going to give up Sebastian Walcott.
Nope.
That's another response I got today. They're not giving up Sebastian Walcott.
Well, he didn't play tonight, Jeff. He didn't play.
He's sick.
I know.
He's sick. They didn't even let him go to the ballpark. Yeah. So let me tell you, that guy's not going anywhere. So then you wonder who will the Rangers trade, and they don't have just a ton of great prospects at AAA and AA. You have to go to the lower levels to find their next crop of top guys. So it'll be interesting to see what they're able to put together here.
Yeah, it will. And one of the things that we know is that the Rangers are working with very little money. And we said this on the show yesterday, that any number of the guys that they're trying to trade for, they're hoping that the team they're trading with will pick up some of the salary. And the reality is, when there's a high demand for relief pitchers, any teams that might be willing, and they still might be willing to do that as it gets closer to the deadline tomorrow, Jeff, but they're not going to jump early at that opportunity. They're going to wait and see if somebody who's still in the market for a relief pitcher who doesn't need us to pick up part of the salary will make us an offer.
Well, that's the thing. You look at the teams that are selling. They generally aren't teams that pick up contracts. They have low payrolls to begin with. Talking about the Pirates. I know the Cardinals can spend some money, but they always lean on St. Louis. Oakland, if Oakland is to get into it.
Right.
They don't have a ton of money right
No.
now.
Right.
So that's kind of what you're dealing with if you're the Rangers, and it's a tough situation. So I don't, these websites, these payroll trackers have them. I've seen some that they're 9 million from the threshold, the luxury tax threshold, and 6 million. The Rangers, somebody told me, are operating that they have less than $2 million available.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that makes it really, really hard to do anything. So that's why you may see them trying to get controllable relievers who are young and not quite proven. The Rockies, we talked about them on the show yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
Rangers have definitely been in contact with the Rockies about a number of guys, Bird and Halverson, and then Victor Vodnik, who I like the best of the three. So that's kind of these young controllable guys are who you're talking about. Or then you have the rentals, and every team has a rental. I mean, the Rangers bullpen is made up of rentals,
right?
But like the Pirates, who Bednar plays for the Pirates. Dennis Santana is having a phenomenal year for the Pirates. He pitched for the Rangers in 2021. He wouldn't cost you anything. And the Diamondbacks, talking about them trading Suarez. They have Anthony DeScalfani, who doesn't make much money. He's not somebody who teams are barging down the door for. Phil Maton from the Cardinals, who broke Josh Young's arm last year.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of postseason experience with the Astros. So those are the kind of guys who you can maybe expect the Rangers to land. They have talked about Bednar, and then look who else is on that Pirates roster. That's the key. I'm telling you right now, and some people have not are surprised when I say this. The Rangers need and want another catcher.
Yeah.
Okay. They have no catching depth. Kyle Higashioka is dealing with injuries, the hamstring. The second time he's had an issue with his legs this year. I know at the very beginning of the year they said it was a shoulder. It was a hamstring too. He had a couple things going on. They need insurance. And if they can find the right catcher who can also DH at times and get
and be
that way.
Right-handed hitter, yeah,
because it adds value, and some versatility on the bench. They're going to do it, and the Pirates have Joey Bart, and there are a couple other catchers out there who probably Bart would probably be a DH type guy. Austin Hedges, who's with the Guardians, and I'm sure the Rangers would love to get him back. Guy can't hit. He would be a catcher only, and it would be a lot like 2023, where he just sat on the bench 6 days a week. So there are a lot of ways to do it, but then, and here's the interesting part: when you if you get another catcher and you put him on your bench, you gotta unload Rowdy Tellez, right? Or you gotta do something with Jock Peterson, who did not play tonight against a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah,
that was really curious. I know that Higashioka hit 2 home runs last night, but if this team is trying to get Jock Peterson hot, right-handed pitcher is the guy to do it against, and he was on the bench, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it is it's another message, right, from perhaps the top. Perhaps Chris Young and Bruce Bochy put their heads together and said, we just got to give him a day. And even though he had yesterday, because it was a left-handed pitcher, but still, we can't. We just it's too important. It's kind of like, in a way, when you bring up a minor league guy. And it's like, well, yeah, we'll let him get his experience here, and we'll let him get his at bat. You can't, not when you're in a race, right?
Right.
And when they're in a race like this, it's like, I'd love to figure out a way to get Jock Peterson back to being Jock Peterson, but we can't do it at the expense of wins, and we can't do it when, especially not when it seemed as though some of his at bats were just so deflating.
Yeah, and I've talked to a source who, has gone so far as to suggest that Peterson has his body has changed in a negative way.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Years.
Yeah,
and he can't. His swing is different, and his bat's not in the strike zone longer because his body's moving differently. So I mean, and that's not something you can fix. You
Nope.
can't either change his body. You can't. Maybe you could get him emergency liposuction or something. But are you going to do that? And you can't remake a guy's swing during the season.
No,
not without taking him out of action. So maybe Josh Peterson has a hamstring injury and has to go to the minors and work on his swing. I mean, I really don't know what they're going to do about it because there's so much money tied up, and I don't know anybody that would take that on.
Oh God, no.
Would take that on.
No chance. No, they're going to have to figure out a way to either get him right or just decide that they might just have to, eat that money and move on because they're not getting anything out of him. That's for sure. And he doesn't appear, and I get it a little bit. You're always a great clubhouse guy when your OPS is 895 or whatever his career OP, right? Of course, you're a great clubhouse guy. But when your OPS is in the 2s or 3s or whatever he's in, you're not as good a clubhouse guy. So anyway, we got more to talk about. We got a couple more trade things to talk about when we come back. Also, we get to the Seattle series. That is a big one, and more accolades from this game and in a way this series. It's all next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, but we start with the merch. My goodness, how about the merch that is out there and available? It is such a great time to go to our website, which is allcitynetwork.com, and get some of this new merchandise. The Dallas collection is great. I've ordered the Dallas versus all y'all shirt. And
I'm wearing that one under my hoodie, John.
Okay, nice. And I've ordered the barbecue one up in the upper left, and of course I've got the Nolan Ryan one. And coming up next week, there's your Dallas versus all y'all. Yeah. And coming up next week, we've got a special presentation, a look back at the event that we've captured on that shirt with Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. Yeah, the anniversary date is coming up next week. So anyway, you'll hear more about that. Store.allcitynetwork.com for any of these fantastic looking shirts. Or when I went on there to order my 2 new ones, I realized I didn't have this one yet. So let's show everybody which one I've got here, Kat. I'm wearing that one, Jeff.
I got that one. Yeah,
the DLLS Rangers flag. And anyway, I love this shirt. It's just it's very understated. So that one's come. My 2 new ones haven't yet, but I think they may be being they're so popular that they're having trouble printing enough. So order now and get yours as soon as you can.
Yeah, what's the barbecue one that you're talking about?
Yeah,
is that what it says? Because I always look at it. I thought it was like an old timey Vegas sign.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that, but which that is, right?
Yeah,
but I think when I looked at it more closely, someone had one, and I think it was it's kind of like one of those really old pit barbecue places,
Okay, well, the hell with that. We're going with a Vegas shirt that you're going to wear when you go to Las Vegas with our Dallas Cowboys team. The DLS Cowboys group is heading out there to Sin City November 15th through the 18th. Going to stay at Mandalay Bay where they had a winter meetings before the pandemic. 18 or 19, maybe it was 17. Anyway, I'm losing track of my dates. TrueFanTravel.com. That's where you need to go. You don't have to be from the Metroplex. They'll get you there from wherever you live and enjoy our show from. And it's going to be 3 days of debauchery with Clarence and the rest of the group. Bring extra money to gamble. And there is no better time. It's a Monday night game. So you're going to have Saturday and Sunday. There's no better time in Las Vegas than during college football Saturday, followed by an NFL Sunday. It's the best weekend you can imagine if you're a sports fan.
Yeah, fantastic. We encourage you to go. So, Jeff, to your point about the Rangers looking at people on the team, so other than Bednar, everybody's talking about Bednar, but nobody's mentioning you know, some of these others that you
Yeah.
mentioned. And so I see some names traded, and it's guys that I'm like, dang, I hadn't heard his name in any of the talks. Steven Matz goes
Yeah.
from Seattle to the Red Sox, right? I
Right.
mean, I hadn't heard his name in any of it. Michael Soroka goes to the
Sure.
Cubs from Washington. I didn't hear him bandied about in any of the pre-draft stuff. So I think you're right. There's a lot of work going on among these general managers and these presidents of baseball operations and CEOs and so forth. There's a lot of work going on that we don't even know about.
Yeah, and it's not always with teams that are obvious sellers, but most of these trades that are happening are obvious sellers.
Yes.
And you know, so you go and you like, all right, let's look at their roster. Oh, the Rockies, they got a bunch of young relievers. You know, would they be interested in moving those guys? Of course they would. The Rangers have the Rockies have nothing. You know, so why do they hold on to relievers? Why would you build a great bullpen if you're going to be the worst team in baseball?
Yeah.
So, you know, they have the opportunity there. The Pirates, obviously, perennially sellers. And so those are who you look at. Okay, so you look at their rosters, you have conversations with them. What are your needs? These are our needs. And some of these conversations may have already taken place. They may have happened in meetings. You know, an off-season trade talk, you know, maybe they got together on something and couldn't get it to the finish line, so maybe they can pick up there. But yeah, every team, I mean, every team has 8 relievers, all right? And a lot of them are on these, you know, one-year deals, so they're going to walk into free agency. Those guys are a little cheaper in terms of what you're going to have to give up to get them. The controllable guys are cheaper financially, but you probably have to give up a little more because you're going to have them for a while. Robert Garcia, the Rangers traded Nathaniel Lowe for Robert Garcia, who is a controllable left-handed reliever who's now the team's closer. So, I mean, I'm not saying the Rangers are going to have to trade, you know, Josh Smith or you know, an established player to get a reliever, but you understand what the price kind of goes up. So, again, they're talking about a bunch of guys. They have a bunch of guys targeted. You know, obviously the big fish is Bednar, but with that market very, very quickly thinning out, his price is only going to go up. Pete Fairbanks, I saw the Rays traded Zach Luttrell today to the Reds.
I saw that.
So maybe they're looking to be opportunistic. So maybe there's an opportunity for a Fairbanks reunion, and you know that the Rays are always have an interesting scouting. Maybe they like somebody like Ezekiel Duran.
Sure.
Maybe they like a you know, maybe they like a guy like Dustin Harris or Blaine Crim, somebody who's they can go and get. And they see something that can turn him into a 200 or 300 back guy who turns out to be a hell of a player for him. So you know, and every team scouting department's different, and they all have different opinions and like different things about different guys, or have relationships with guys from years and years and years back, from when they were drafting or scouting them in high school. You know, there's just so many different ways to go about it. So the Rangers have cast a wide net. There's no doubt about it. They are handicapped financially. Unless I wrote this today, unless Ray Davis gives the blessing to go over the luxury tax threshold, and you know, it just doesn't make sense for him to not do it, knowing his personal wealth. You know, do you want to go out a winner or not? You know, I didn't write this because I thought it was kind of crass, so I'll just say it. There's not a lot of chances left for Ray Davis to win a World Series. You know, God bless him. You know, he had a health scare a few years ago. He came through it fine. He looks great. He's out. He's in public. He seems to be getting around just fine. His mind seems sharp as ever.
Yeah, very lucid.
Making deals left and right, but you know, the clock's ticking. And if you want to have a baseball legacy, he's won his World Series. But man, 2 would be really, really nice.
Yeah, it would.
3 would be really nice.
Right. I was going to say
have the resources to do it.
Sure. It would begin a process that makes you, first of all, a unicorn in this day and age, as teams that can win, multiple World Series, and certainly in the millennium, nobody's done it in back-to-back years. So maybe
Right.
try to haul off and do that one of these times too. But first things first, this one, I think there may be a little stubbornness there on his part, and I really think if the team had been swept, ironically, I really think if the Angels had swept the Rangers, he might have said, forget it. Forget it. We're not. I don't think this team can do it. Like he's a fan too, and thankfully they didn't. So perhaps he can still be talked into it as they showed certain things. You mentioned Robert Garcia, by the way, and he had a really good night. Granted, it was seven, 8, and 9 hitters, but 2 strikeouts. And I'm always complaining that I don't like. The thing I don't like about Robert Garcia is I just don't see him striking out enough people, and the numbers also indicate that. But he had a good night tonight. That was nice to see.
It was, and he'd had a lot of rest, so that's good. He's and you say it was only 7, 8, 9. Shoot, those have been their Angels' best hitters all series.
That's true. It's
true. So no, good for him. He'll be available tomorrow if a save opportunity arises. I would imagine Armstrong won't pitch, but I think all the others will be available. That's what happens when your starter goes 7 innings.
Yep.
The bullpen the next day is suddenly refreshed and ready to go.
Yep. And so, the Rangers, as we mentioned, are in a position now where 3 of the other 3 teams that would obviously consider themselves in the race in the American League West and or in the wild card, the other 3 teams have all made trades. And so, that's something that the Rangers definitely will keep in mind and notice and certainly try to address tomorrow as well. Let's look at the standings for the division and for the wild card right now. And there you see them. And in this division, you see that the Rangers and the Mariners are basically tied. They have the exact same record. The Mariners do hold the tiebreaker, which is why they would be, if the season ended today, the Mariners would be the wild card over the Rangers, even though the 2 teams have the same record.
Yeah, and that tiebreaker, they don't play the tiebreaker games anymore. They just go in there and whoever has a tiebreaker, that's how the darn Astros won the division in 2023.
Yeah,
everything worked out just fine for the Rangers, but they're in the thick of it, man. There's nothing else to say.
Yeah, and that's why when the other 3, the Astros obviously bolstered third base, they may try to do more. The Seattle Mariners kind of hit the mother load, getting a relief pitcher in a bat that they desperately needed, and then of course, how could you not be thrilled if you are over near Hollywood and you got Yosemite Sam walking into that clubhouse, firing them pistols, baby. He's firing them pistols.
Coming in on that little teeny tiny horse.
He is, man. He's got Andrew Chafin coming in loaded for bear, man. He's got pistols on each hip. So,
he's ready to go.
Yeah, he is ready to go, and we are too. Let's talk a little bit more about this Seattle series as we'll set the pitching rotation for it. We'll talk about what we can expect from each of the pitchers. It sets up pretty well for the Rangers. Then again, from a pitching perspective, it usually does. And then again, from a pitching perspective, it usually sets up pretty well for the Mariners too. So strength against strength in a way. We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
Hey, the clock is ticking on our DLLS Die Hard training camp special, or as I have deemed it, the trade deadline special. $36. That's more than 50% off our normal price. You renew at the normal price, but you still get a free T-shirt, and you can get that at store.allcitynetwork.com, as we discussed in the last ad break. Die Hard membership gets you 20% off, including that trip to Las Vegas that we talked about. And hopefully, John, we have a spring training trip
this
year. And
Yeah.
I know Leon goes to spring training, so maybe Leon can with his diehard membership, he can take advantage of that 20% off, and we'll find us a week to go out there to surprise and hang out and do all sorts of stuff.
Talk baseball.
Talk baseball. We can do our show from Booties, where Andy and Peggy will gladly make room for us to do it. Anyway, you got to become a diehard. It's good stuff, and it's not just Rangers. It's the other three major pro sports teams, and we're growing. We are growing, and catch the wave now. And you can join by doing the QR code there, or by going to alldls.com/join.
Yeah, it's a great plan. It's a great idea, and it's great content that we provide, from Jeff to Tim Cato to Clarence Hill, who's still out there in Oxnard writing on these Cowboys, and obviously we've got Sam Nestler too writing for the Stars. So lots of really good stuff available on our site, and it's only $36 right now. So make yourself a note to do that, or do it right now. I mean, it's easy, All right, so the Seattle series, big. Let's look at the pitching matchups, Jeff, and it starts with Kumar Rocker. But man, you can't sleep on old Kirby. I think he's won 4 of his last 5, maybe. Lowered his ERA. I mean, he's been pitching well. But again, Rocker, Leiter, DeGrom, Corbin. You're fine with that rotation. You still got to face Gilbert. You got Castillo. I mean, everybody on there, they all give the Rangers trouble.
Yeah, George Kirby last year was a hell of a pitcher. I mean, he was one of the better ones in the league. I think he got a late start this year, but he's good, man. And Rocker made his MLB debut last September here. Pitched pretty darn well. Had a kind of a not a very efficient outing his last time out, but the Rangers still managed to win the ball game. Jack was better Sunday. Hopefully learned something. Logan Gilbert and the Rangers actually got him for 5 runs, I think, there in the end of May, or was it the end of June? I don't remember. All those flurry of extra inning games.
Yeah.
But they did a good job against him. But he's really, really tough with that split that he throws. DeGrom will rebound. Corbin, steady Eddie out there. Look, there's going to be some low-scoring games.
Yeah, you think so.
And even with Eugenio Suarez in the Mariners lineup, these are going to be some low-scoring games. Should be a good series. The Rangers need to exercise some demons here. Seems like Minute Maid Park was their house of horrors for a while, or whatever they call it now, Daikin Park, and now it's definitely T-Mobile. So I still like to call it Safeco.
Yeah, I like that too.
But anyway,
and I like Enron. No, I'm kidding. I don't like Enron. I still call it Minute Maid, though. I do. So yeah, and this is it against the Mariners, right? They're not.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is it. So you got to try and go ahead and get this series, at least split it up there. If you split up there, it feels like a win, but you sure would love to win. Always tough to win a 4-game series, but you sure would like to win that series. You come home, as we've mentioned, and you've got the Yankees and the Phillies on a homestand when you come home. So nothing easy about that, but it'll be a fun series to watch. And obviously the Rangers have been playing great at home, certainly since the All-Star break. So it's interesting because there was a note in the game notes today about how, the Rangers, since like mid-June, have a winning record on the road, even with the 2 losses in Anaheim to start this out. And I was a little surprised by that. It's like the 4th or 5th best road record in baseball since like mid-June. So they really haven't. They started so poorly on the road, I guess, that we just felt like, oh man, they're never good on the road. But they had actually kind of turn things around on the road. So hopefully that continues in Seattle as well.
It's really weird, and I don't know how it's mathematically possible. But when you look at the standings, across baseball, both leagues, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 teams of 30. All right, 4 of 30 who have winning road
records. Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
and so where you kind of look at the Rangers, and they were terrible early on, and they have gotten a lot better. They're still 9 games under 500,
right.
but you know what? That's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's maybe a little below league average, but everybody, it seems like, is below 500. Okay, let me recount these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams.
6. Okay, that's still out of 30. Out of 30.
Now two of them are the Astros and the Mariners. So if the Rangers can just pick up a few games on the road, they're really making some hay here. That's a really interesting thing that home field means that much. So anyway, again, it's not going to be easy this weekend.
No, and as we remember, home field meant nothing in 2023's playoffs. You know, I mean, the Rangers were 11-0 on the road. They won every single game out there. So obviously, everybody knows it's possible. The Rangers know it's possible. In the short term, no, they're not thinking yet about the playoffs. They're just thinking about keeping hope alive, if you will, and their opportunity to get there. And the opportunity, as we say, goes right through Seattle, and the Rangers definitely need. I think, Jeff, it's almost as much psychological as it is physical, but to add, right? We know what effect that can have on a clubhouse.
100%. I'll never forget the euphoria that was in the clubhouse when the Rangers got Cliff Lee. Mm-hmm. They were ecstatic.
Yep.
And they went out and got swept by the Orioles, but they were ecstatic, and they couldn't believe it. They were so happy, and it was like, Justin Smoke had been with the team for a while, and it's like, well, so long, Justin. Let me help you pack.
Yeah,
they were so excited about that, and it really does have a meaningful impact on the psyche. It shows that the front office believes in you. That ownership believes in you, and that it gives you a boost that, hey, we are okay, we are going to be fine, and now we're going to be better. So there is a to not add, and I've been on that side too, where the team's been kind of middling, but the players have been confident, and the Rangers haven't done anything, and I remember those days too, and it's a pall that is cast over the clubhouse on those days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I kind of remember a similar feeling, not quite as excited as Cliff Lee, but when Cole Hamels came over, and it was such an unusual circumstance in that he had thrown a no-hitter in his last start for the Phillies.
Right. And he'd thrown so many pitches, I remember.
Yeah.
And then he came in, and he did his introductory press conference after a game. And he was wearing like jeans and a flannel shirt. And it was, July 31st. And we're like, you might want to dress for the weather. But I remember that very distinctly. And he said, I'm here to win the division. And by God, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he really was. And they did. Pretty amazing. 15 and 16, good years, good years for him. So anyway, and none of this, of course, is lost on a guy who was in so many major league clubhouses and was a part of both of those, right? He was a part of those teams that were, supported by trades at the trade deadline, and a part of those teams that weren't, and that's Chris Young.
For sure. And, he's won a World Series, and that's, I might have said it the other day, and it still kind of sticks with me. And I've said it to Chris. The team that won the World Series, the Royals team that won the World Series, had a dominant bullpen. The starter never went more than 5 innings for that Royals team in the playoffs. and then they just turned it over to the bullpen. And Greg Holland was a lockdown closer.
Yeah.
He got Cy Young votes in 14 and 15. And it's kind of like Chris also, I think, played with Trevor Hoffman. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've seen the benefit of having an amazing closer. Go get one. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
You know it works. So, but that's just not how a lot of front offices. They don't see a ton of value in spending that kind of money on a big name closer. And you sometimes, and some, hey, what the Rangers in 23, we all know the bullpen story there. The Diamondbacks, their closer obviously didn't pitch worth a darn for them down the stretch and in the World Series. So you can get by with a pedestrian bullpen, but you sure like your chances a lot better if you have a guy down there for the ninth inning.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow to see, because obviously I know it's a night game tomorrow, but after a late night of travel, there's almost no way Jonah Heim is catching tomorrow. So, Higashioka is going to need to get back there, and, hopefully the Hammies supports it.
Yeah. And, he caught the other night. He seemed fine. He was moving okay back there. And he, I do wonder if a faster runner had been on base.
I do.
The triple he had tonight, if that had been Wyatt Langford, would have been a home run. I think it would have been.
Yeah.
Or at least Beasley would have been tempted to send him. So that, and again, and that's why the Rangers need a catcher. And their AAA catcher right now, catchers are Connor Piotto and Cooper Johnson. And Cooper was in big league camp. That's cool and all, but these guys don't have big league experience. They're not on the 40-man roster.
Right.
I don't think the Rangers don't want to find out what life looks like with one of those guys catching in the big leagues if Higashioka's hamstring tears, or if Jonah Heim. Does anybody get hit by more foul tips than Jonah Heim?
No.
It's
and unbelievable. And, every once in a while I think, geez, Jonah, you're a catcher, tough it out. And then I see how hard that ball hit him in the foot, square on it. And you could hear it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, there's no toughing that one out. That's just in a bad spot, right on that bone. And it's truly amazing how the ball finds that guy.
Yeah. But anyway, it may find a pinky one day and break it.
Right.
I mean, there's so many little things that can happen to a catcher and that turn into big things, and you don't want to be exposed. And so that's why the Rangers are looking for a catcher. And, and they'll get one. The Austin Hedges deal came in right under the radar, right at the gun in 23. And so they'll find somebody out there. But like the Rockies have Nola, Austin Nola.
Mm-hmm.
He's got like 30 at-bats this year. But you know what? He's got some playoff experience.
Yeah, been around for a long time. Yeah.
I mean, so while they're looking at the Rockies relievers, you think they're not asking about the catching situation?
Sure.
Of course they
are. Yeah.
So,
and they wouldn't need to give much for him at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of ways this could go.
Yeah. So those are the things we think will happen. Probably not overnight, but possibly could, but more likely sometime tomorrow. And we'll be excited to share what we learn with you. Like say, Jeff's boots on the ground right there in Seattle. So he'll be there if any of the new players arrive. He'll be there to interview them and so forth. And we'll both be working it all day tomorrow to see what the Rangers are going to do, when they're going to do it, and with whom they plan to do it. The trade deadline, 5 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. Our show tomorrow, rather than its normal time, will come to you at 4:30. So we can give you the very latest of what's happening with the Rangers. If we come on the air and you see it's just me, know that Jeff's out there working something, because the Rangers are still working something. But we'll hope that the trades are done by then and we can just come on and talk about it, Jeff.
Yeah. And it's those last few minutes, and then the deadline hits. And you're like, well, are we clear yet? Because there'll be deals that get announced afterwards. They get them right in under the buzzer. So it's usually about 3:05, 3:10. We'll get it used to be 3:00. So,
Yeah.
So 10 minutes afterwards, and we might get an all clear from PR.
PR people. Yeah. Okay.
We'll see what happens, but it should be exciting.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it. We expect something. We expect action, and we'll be there for it and for you. We thank you for joining us tonight. Rangers win it and salvage at least a win in Anaheim on this series. 6-3 the final. We'll see you tomorrow at 4:30 for another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.